Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, and as the old saying goes, the show must go on. Technical problems keep Steve's visage away from us, but we've got him via telephone. And Steve, one of my favorite things when I'm watching your show is Take 5. We got about 5 minutes to go through some things, and I just want to get your unique take on them. From last night in the convention, let's begin. Number one is number two, so to speak. Tim Kaine, the Democrat vice presidential nominee, impersonating Donald Trump. Let's look and listen.
Trump is a guy who promises a lot, but you might have noticed he's got a way of saying the same two words every time he makes his biggest, hugest promises. Believe me. It's going to be great. Believe me. We're going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. Believe me. We're going to destroy ISIS so fast. Believe me. There's nothing suspicious in my tax returns. Believe me.
So was that effective last night, Steve?
No, I think he made a fool of himself. I really do. I lost a lot of respect for him. I know you could be an attack dog, but, mimicking and imitating somebody, so I guess it would be perfectly acceptable for Donald or for Mike Pence to get up there and start cackling the way Hillary cackles or screeching the way Hillary screeches. And I'm sure the media would love it and say, oh, what a great speech. They would kill them.
Well,
so I just lost a lot of respect for Kaine, and I think it was very inappropriate.
3 minutes remain, and I got a couple other things we got to get to. One political figure that is in a class by himself when it comes to mentioning himself is President Obama. Check this out from last night.
The America I know, as I've traveled, as I've rejoiced, but I have also seen. I see people, I see engineers, I see Americans. That's what I see. The America I know. Let me tell you, Hillary and we battled. Let me tell you, I was worn out. She was doing everything I was doing. I asked Hillary to join my team.
But as they say on the old spots, but wait, Steve, there's more.
There's more.
Well, I thought we had it loaded up, but trust me.
There is more. Well, the bottom line is he went on, narcissist that he is, and you know that the game now, JD, whenever he gives a speech, it's no matter what the topic, no matter what the issue, no matter where he is, even at the police memorial service in Dallas, it's I, and he did it well over 100 times yesterday. So, I mean, it's who he is. It's insanity, but he's a narcissist. And it's all about him no matter where he is.
Well, if those at home don't believe you, Steve, we've got just a little more of the I mentions last night. Here they are.
I love you. I addressed this convention. You met my two little girls. Fill me with pride. You fell for my brilliance, made me a better father and a better man. I know the same cannot be said for me. My girls remind me all the time. Changed so much, Daddy. I was so young that first time in Boston. Look, I'll admit it. Maybe I was a little nervous. I was filled with faith that made my story.
Got about a minute left, Steve. I guess he could rename that nominating speech for Hillary, Me, Myself, and I.
There you go. There you go. And then we have, of course, the situation where if you Googled the search for presidential candidates, Donald Trump was conspicuously absent. You had Hillary, you had Bernie, and you had Jill Stein. No Donald Trump at Google. And they said, oh, it was a mistake. You know what it is? It's in line with Twitter. It's in line with Facebook. Google's been guilty of other things in the past. It's all an effort to censor what they want and censor their agenda and promote their agenda. Newsmax is the alternative to all this garbage.
Steve, you're quite right. As has been pointed out before, we're not the media, we're Newsmax TV. And Steve, thanks so much for joining us, overcoming the technical difficulties and closing this out by telephone. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Steve Malzberg, the host of this very program. Hey, a reminder that you can get in later tonight on all our programs. Call with your comments at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. A good chance to get in line for Newsmax Prime. That starts promptly at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're joined right now by Stacy Washington, host of the Stacy on the Right show. Check her out at stacyontheright.com as she Skypes in tonight from St. Louis. So, Stacy, President Obama gets up last night ostensibly to nominate Hillary Clinton, and he mentions himself 119 times. Does that surprise you?
Not at all. I think he was actually in rare form last week when speaking of terror events and then quipping jokes about his daughter leaving home to go to college. He doesn't have a frame of reference for placing an appropriate amount of anger or sorrow into his remarks unless he's talking about the Republicans. That's when he usually gets fired up. He gets angry. He's very focused and energetic. Other than that, he doesn't have a care in the world. He's just got it going on.
Well, speaking of his criticism of Republicans, why don't we take a look, because it's obvious Donald Trump is dancing all around in the president's head. Let's listen to a part of what Mr. Obama had to say last night about Donald Trump.
That's why our military can look the way it does. Every shade of humanity forged into common service. That's why anyone who threatens our values, whether fascists or communists or jihadists or homegrown demagogues, will always fail in the end.
Homegrown demagogues. It's kind of revealing because you know he's talking about Trump, and for President Obama to equate the Republican nominee with the enemies of this country, it just speaks volumes.
Well, not just Donald Trump. I mean, that's a reference to all the people he first called out. Remember, the first call out he ever did was for disaffected workers in towns where the jobs have left and they're clinging to their guns and their Bibles. And he has instructed parts of the United States government to watch and put on terror lists people like myself, Air Force veterans, Army veterans, people who own guns, people who are pro-life, people who have religious fervor, anyone who's not like himself, an East Coast liberal with a very secular bent towards viewing everything. And it's really instructive because for those who are listening, you can hear him giving the dog whistles to his constituencies while vilifying everyone else.
And if you vilify everybody else, it doesn't exactly make it easy for his would-be successor. I mean, here we are, Stacy, the final night of the Democrat convention. And according to the latest poll, Donald Trump now enjoys a lead over Hillary Clinton by more than 7 percentage points. What is it about Hillary? Is it just that she's unlikable? In fact, I think Ed Klein coined that phrase earlier. She's unlikable. What does she have to do tonight in this speech?
Well, I don't know that there's very much she can do with her angering WikiLeaks. I think it's part and parcel to her attacking and wanting to have Julian Assange prosecuted that we're seeing this coming out at such an inopportune time for her, all of these leaks of the emails. And they're calling it phase one. So there are more than 33,000 emails that she deleted and thought were completely gone that they say they have possession of that they'll be releasing in phase 2 or phase 3, depending on what they're sharing and what their timeline is. She doesn't have much she can do for independents and Republicans, but she could definitely speak to her base and try to unify them and get those Bernie Sanders supporters back into the fold. Although what I'm reading online is correct, that's not going to work tonight either.
And just about 40 seconds here, Stacy. I understand that she's going back to the 90s and picking up the theme of it takes a village. Is that going to work?
No, because a village would have told their idiot not to store classified emails on a server in the village idiot's bathroom. So the jokes will just keep coming. And I think one thing they can count on is that the hardcore leftists will support them. But it's a little late for them to start pivoting and trying to behave as if they're the party of freedom, patriotism, love, acceptance, families. All of that's been blown to kingdom come.
But you've offered the first late night joke, and we got to watch for all the guys on the networks to see if they plagiarize it. Stacy Washington, host of Stacy on the Right, thank you so very much for your time this evening.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And speaking of Hillary, we'll be around for her acceptance speech tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. J.D. Hayworth in for Steve Malzberg, and don't go away, because Newsmax Prime comes your way in just 30 seconds here on Newsmax TV.